So let's get started. Today I am coloring in this cute little dragon. The inspiration is taken from the Pokemon Dragonite. Okay, so you will download this picture of your dragon, and we're going to go in on our dragon layer, and we're going to change the blend mode to multiply. Usually it's at the very top. Change that to multiply. Next, you're going to come and get your palette. If you didn't download the palette, I'll just go over the colors real quickly. So we have this butterscotch orange color, kind of a teal mint, this pale yellow butterscotch, mauve purple, and then this really warm peach color. So I will have those as either a image download or potentially a palette download. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to need a new layer under our artwork layer. And let's first color in our dragon. He's going to be that yellow-orange color. For my pen, I'm going to pick probably a technical pen. I like this because if you look and see, it has a nice smooth edge and it's pretty good at, it doesn't make super curved lines, jagged lines. It makes like smooth lines. So anyway, technical pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and outline the entire dragon except the wings. So I go in and I am working on a layer beneath my line art layer. That way I can color under the line art and it doesn't affect things. All right, so if I'm not using a brush that has a built-in texture that I want to paint on, I will usually color my pieces this way. It's probably the quickest way I know, where you outline and then color drop. This is my first live recording, so I'm not technically live in front of anyone, but I am recording this without huge edits or like a plain script. So you're getting the real stuff. Okay, so like right here, if I'm not careful, there can actually, here I'll show you, there can be a break. See how there's a break right here? So if under the line art it looks like that's closed, but when I go to color drop, the color will leak out of there. So I need to make sure that I actually color that in. So you can see now the line art is closed. All right. Otherwise the color leaks out and colors your whole canvas, and then you're left wondering, you know why? Because everything looks like it's all closed. All right, let's finish up this head. Okay, I think we can color drop. Ta-da! If you have any type of, let's see if I can get it. Nope, it's not gonna do it for me. Okay. Say sometimes there will be a slight, oh, here we go. See this edge where there's kind of like a line that didn't get colored in? So to fix that, when you color drop, hold down your pen and then move your pen to the right, and it should fill in those lines. So you won't get that. Yeah, see, it's gone. All right, we've got his little head colored. Let's keep going. Gonna do his body next. And on this first layer, if you look over here in my layers, this is my bottom color layer. So what that does is I don't have to worry about, in here I'll have his belly will be a different color, but I'm not going to go in and try to outline all along his belly. I will just layer all of him orange because I will be using another layer to color in over top. So continuing to outline. Some people are faster at this, but I hate having to go back and clean it up. Like right here you can see where I missed. So I don't like having to do that, so I go slow. You could also use a bigger brush that will help. This brush is pretty small. I can change, let's see, this is the same brush but in a slightly bigger size. Ooh, really big. Okay. Again, this is just the technical pencil. Basically, in my set, the technical pencil doesn't change size for any pressure, and it has some nice smoothness to it. It doesn't get all jagged. See how I'm like trying to make jagged lines and it's kind of making them all curved? So that's what the technical pencil does for me. I have issues sometimes with my hand shaking, so getting really smooth lines can be difficult. So a smoother brush kind of helps with that. Okay, I'm getting there. Thank you for your patience. Okay, this bigger brush is going faster. Hooray! All right, I think I can color drop. Oop, that added some funky lines to it, so we're just gonna move over. Can you see that blue bar at the top? By pulling it over, so when I color drop, I let the color fill, but I don't lift my pen. And then I drag that blue bar over, and you can see it's the little white lines aren't there anymore, so that's good. All right, we've got the little guy all colored in. Let's see, I'm gonna pick out a new layer. Now we have layer 15. And for this layer, I think I'm going to, let's do his wings. So I'm gonna come over here and hold down my finger on the light color. Oh, no, mint color. And I will need the smaller technical pencil for this. What is it? A technical pen, sorry, not pencil. And let's just go down. Oh, actually, I only want the inside of the wings to be green. Details, details, right? So today it is, well, it was raining earlier, but now it is bright and sunny. I can hear the birds singing. My puppers are sleeping over on the couch, quite happy. And I'm just hanging out. My son decided to go play outside and hang out in the woods, which I am all for. More outdoor time is always a good thing, if you ask me. Having a hard time again. Pay attention. Okay, making sure all my lines are closed. Let's drop this in. Beautiful. Now this dragon is fairly, what do you call it? It's very symmetrical. So both sides are very, very close to being identical. So I could come in here and just duplicate his wing and flip it to the other side. Let's see how bad that is. Oh, I can stretch it out a little. I distort it and see if I can fit it. So I definitely could color things in, but you know, sometimes I like to find faster ways to do things. Okay, now I'm just gonna get an eraser, just erase wherever I have some spillover. And since my wing color is all on its own layer, I can do that. Because otherwise I would be erasing the orange too, and that wouldn't be good. Alright. I probably should have downloaded some questions that I could answer while I'm doing this, because I'm not used to talking and my art process is slow-ish. So, yeah, I'm not always sure what to talk about, but I guess it's okay to just draw and be quiet. I can put music on in the background too. Okay, wings done. Let's see, what do I want to do next? First of all, I'm gonna merge the wing layers. They're gonna get the same layer. And I didn't realize when I did the rest of the dragon that the tops of his wings are this butterscotch orange color. So I'm gonna go back in and just color that in. I think sometimes the just filling colors or putting in the flat colors is like relaxing, so it's a fun part of the process. However, the image really comes alive when you start adding in the shadows and highlights. So sometimes that's more of my favorite step, I guess you could say. So we're almost done. We have the mouth yet to do and the belly. Okay. Ta-da! And I could, oh no, I can't duplicate that because it's all in one layer. Okay, I don't know if I would duplicate it anyway because I'm sure it's probably just as fast to do it this way. I think some people will use the selection tool and draw in and then color fill. I don't know that that would be any faster than how I'm doing it because I'm basically outlining the piece and then dropping color in. So for this step, that makes sense. I think it could be useful to do the selection tool if you were doing like gradients or you were overlapping several different colors at once that were on different layers. But I'm not doing that right now. Alright, my little guy. Okay. Ta-da! Wings done. Alright, now we're gonna go get this pretty cream color. And let's do his belly and his paws. We need a new layer. Oh, I didn't include, in these colors, I didn't include straight up white because it seemed kind of silly. Because everyone can get white. It's not like it's a variable color. So I don't have that in the color block list, but we will be using that for the toenails. And the, well, are they all feet? I don't know. I feel like these are more like arms and these are feet. So do we call them like fingernails or I don't know. His little toe claws, foot claws, hand claws, whatever. We will be coloring those with straight up white. So that makes them stand out from the rest. Okay, paw pads in. Let's do this belly. And here can get a little interesting because we have his arms to go around. But I'm going to use my big technical pencil for outlining major parts. And then I'll get my smaller version to do the other side. And when you have a spillover, it's easy enough to erase. So don't let that bother you. Okay, let's see, come down around his arm. See, it is an arm. So I guess those are fingernails. Ah, spilled over. When I first looked at Dragonite, who I used as an inspiration for this, I don't think I realized the simplicity of colors, but it's so I guess refreshing. I always, I think, overcomplicate my designs with too many colors, and learning more recently that a simpler color palette actually can lead to a better piece. So, just like, I guess in some ways, like when you decorate a house or a room, you pick one or two main colors, and then you have accents of colors. So I think that's kind of how, depending on how complicated your illustration is. Obviously, if you're doing like a city scene, it's going to have more colors or a lot of vibrant children's picture books have a lot of bright colors, but there's still a couple main ones. So yeah, at least the ones that I seem drawn to tend to have, I would say most of the children's picture books that I'm drawn to have a lot of green. Yeah, but then they also tend to focus more on like primary colors as like the main feel. There's a lot of primary. At least that's what I've seen. Okay, we got some spill. I'm going to color that out. My pen was too big for this little corner over here. Gotta fix that. I try to be like, I guess, slow and deliberate when I'm working, so I don't have a ton of cleanup at the end. It's nothing like finishing a piece and then having to go back in and rework because you weren't careful enough when you were doing it. Oh, his tail. So his little belly texture, stripes, whatever it is, continues back around underneath. Kind of like the belly of I guess like a crocodile. I'd say the belly of a dragon, but we don't really have a reference for that in real life anymore. Like, you can go to museums and study dinosaurs and such, but something that's within we could get close and it's real and stuff. So this little guy has an alligator type belly pattern. All right, so I think we have his little noodle antennas. I'm not sure what these things are, but they remind me so much of noodles. I just have to call them that. When I saw the Pokemon Dragonite character, I was like, what are those things coming out of his head? And they kind of look like insect antennae, but like dragons don't have them. But I guess in Pokemon you can mix species and it'll be okay. So the story behind choosing this one to draw is that I'm tutoring some art classes, and this was drawn as something we could do in art class for the girl I'm working with. So I haven't shown it to her yet, but hopefully she likes it. I'm sure she will. It's always a battle when designing for art classes about how detailed can I go, because when you're teaching something, it takes maybe twice as long to show how to do something, because you need to show it and then they do it. So your designs have to be a lot more simplistic than maybe you would if you allotted yourself an hour's time. You would be able to do more detail in that amount of time, but with a student it takes longer, which is great and fine and wonderful. I just tend to overcomplicate design sometimes. Okay, so we have his belly, his wings. Okay, we're gonna go for his tongue now. Get that peachy color and switch to my eraser. Let's go back and color in this tongue. Nice pink color. Ta-da! Okay, last thing are his claws. So new layer, and we're gonna get white. To get white, you just tap twice on the edge with your pen and it'll immediately snap to white. Little trick in case you didn't know. Right, am I on a new layer? Yes, I am. So time to do little toenails, claws, things. So if you're watching this, do you have a favorite Pokemon character? Or if you have children, do they have a favorite Pokemon character? I have actually never really gotten that much into Pokemon. My son did a little bit, and like friends of mine, but I've not done that much with them. I did enjoy the Pokemon movie. I forget what it's called, but it came out and it had the the yellow one. Oh my gosh, Pikachu in it. I thought that was fun. It's kind of cool too how like with special effects you can actually you can go from animated kind of comic style to live action. Make things come alive. I mean, isn't that the dream as a child? You imagine all these cool things and then you grow up and you kind of lose some of that spark, but then you see a movie where it's live action and all the things that you imagined are like real and interacting with people and you're like, yeah, that works. That totally works. Okay, I'm noticing something funny. There's a little bit of a failure with my butterscotch, so I'm going to try to color this in. Yeah, let's get this. Not sure why that line. I don't know if you can see it on there or not. There's a little bit of a line. I crept around. Okay, good enough. All right, our little guy is all colored in. Now, I think Dragonite is like one of the further along evolutions of the character. So he or she actually shows up differently. So I don't know if there's such a thing as a baby Dragonite. Maybe there is, but if I can imagine it, I can draw it, right? Okay, so we've got our colors down, and right now we have all of these flat colors. I'm going to group them, and I'm going to just label this flat because that makes sense in my mind. I've also labeled them like colors before, and that works too. All right, new layer, and this one I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply. And I'm going to go get this mauve purple. And for my shadows, I'm trying to think what kind of brush I want. I really like this brush. Is kind of like a marker. You can layer it, and it's kind of soft. So If you don't have Jazz's pack, which by the way is a good pack, if you're looking to spend money. If not, if you go down to, let me see, under drawing, the round brush could work, or the flat brush. I wonder what that one's like. Yeah, that one could work too. So if you get that flat brush from the regular pack, that should work. Okay. Trying to think if there's any others that might be better. I think you should go with that probably. Yeah, the round brush or the flat brush should probably achieve the same thing. The only difference with mine is it tapers at the end, which I do love. Thanks for... Okay, so now we're going to add some shadows, and I'm trying to think where I want the sun to come from. I have been doing it where it comes from over here, so that like this side of the character is in shadow, which I do like. So I think we're going to try that again. I'm gonna draw a little sun up here. Okay, just to keep us, and get my mauve. Okay. On my multiply layer. Okay, let's do something with this face. So basically when I'm adding shadows in, especially with these marker brushes, is I'll do a bunch of times in a row, like I'll keep layering them. It gives this kind of organic feel to it, and I really like. And that looks way too strong, so what I'm going to do is come over to the layer, and I'm going to lower the opacity. Because if it's late at night and there's a bright light shining, then I would leave it up there, but the sun's up, so there's going to be a shadow, but not a harsh shadow. Okay, and just like his head, his body's going to be shadow, under shadow, so go in here and layer that up. And I don't mind if it's a little bit messy. Actually tends to make it look even better. Okay, we've got his little legs, and of course his feet. I'm not going to do too much on his feet because I'm going to say there's this light off to the side, and then there's going to be like a smaller light that's like shining on him this way, kind of. So that's my attempt anyway. Okay, I'm gonna do a little shadow behind his legs, and we'll do a little bit over here too, but not as much since we've got light coming there. And make my brush a little bit smaller. The top of his crown is going to be in shadow, and there'll probably be a little bit around. I'm not 100% sure how this would look, but I think I'm gonna go with that. The bottom of his little noodles is gonna have shadow, and this is where you start to see some definition that I really like. Just erasing that extra that spilled off. Okay, I'll put some more on his noodles. Have to let me know if you know the technical term for these little things. Are they antennae or are they noodles? Okay, he has a pudgy little face, so he is going to have a bit of a shadow from his chin. However, I don't think it's going to go the whole way around, so I'm going to just erase it a little bit over there because the sun will be making that fully filled with light. Alright, something with eyes that has helped me a lot in making my characters look more real is when eyes are set back in the head, usually this fold here has a little bit of a shadow to it. So if you want to give your characters a bit of an eyelid, you want to go in and add some shadow here. Sometimes you can add a little bit of shadow down below. It's a little hit or miss. Okay, when cheeks are scrunched up, you're going to have just a little bit of shadow. Oops. Shadow there. And shadow here. And I think there's going to be some shadow on his tongue because his tongue is inside his mouth. Not sticking out. There we go. Oh, this is already starting to look so much more real-like and has like dimension. Okay. Let's go back to the arms. So this is going to have more of a shadow on it because basically only the top of the arm is going to be receiving sunlight, right? And I kind of want it to blend. I think that looks right. Okay, we're going to have some shadow between the claws and in this little arm fold. Just a little bit of a shadow, not a big deal. And oh, the cool thing about these white claws is you give them a shadow and they instantly become so much more defined. It's like awesome. I wonder if I should make a little shadow around the claws too. You know, like where the claw joins the body. I don't know, I haven't done that before. I'm not sure if I like that. No, I think that works. Okay, other one. Let's go to the other side. There's going to be a little bit of a light down here, but not, a little bit of a shadow down here, but not as much. We're gonna get in the wrong sides on these things. And down here. I don't think his belly really stands out from the rest of him, so I don't need to accent that. Maybe a little bit here, maybe a smidge there. Okay. How you doing? You hanging in there? Let's keep going. we're going to come to the feet. It's going to be a little bit behind. Our claws around, and again I'm going to go around just to show where they're joining the body. Yeah, maybe around the base to show that there's like some. Do that to his finger claws too. Finger claws? Let's call them finger claws, okay? Alright, so this one's probably going to have a bit of a shadow down here. You'll notice as I'm doing this, I kind of go all over the place. Alright, so you'll notice that I'm a little ADHD, I guess. Like I didn't finish his arm and I've already moved down to the feet. So, and now we're going back up to the arm. I don't try to make sense of it, I just enjoy the process. I think I get bored too easily, and so I just move where I see things. Okay, let's see, foot. I think there's gonna be a little, well, I don't know, probably not. Alright, but our toes are gonna have a little bit of shading. Toes, nails, whatever. You know, this is starting to bug me. My deepest apologies to anyone who has strong opinions about what these little things are called. Okay, and we're gonna have a little bit of a shadow there. And let's see, what else do we got going on? Okay, so he's sitting on the ground, and I think across the bottom that we are going to have kind of this shadow. And I'm going to just color that in. And also his tail. For the record, I have no idea how this little character moves. He's so fat and pudgy. He's so pudgy. And he has little stubby legs. And those wings, like, seriously, with those wings, I don't know. But he's make-believe characters, so we can do whatever we want with them. Or something like that. Okay, let's color, oops, and there we go. Okay, I think I'd like that to come up a little bit higher. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. Okay, now the wings. Oh, we have some where the noodles attached to the head. That one's already in shadow. Okay, for the wings, I'm going to shade inside, basically where the webbing would be, as opposed to like the stiff part the webbing hangs off of. And I think I might do a little bit of shadow down along these ribs. Ribs? Like in an umbrella, they'd be called ribs. This is like the issue with making make-believe characters, in that you don't have words for some of their parts. Either that, or I'm just so like out of touch with fantasy animals and their anatomy. But I'm still having fun. I should count for something. Okay. Wings done. We've got a little bit of a shadow coming in here where his cheek pops out. What else? Alright, I'm going to say that's it for my shadows. I'm going to rename this layer shadows. I can pretty easily tell. But anyway. I can also play around with the opacity now. I tend to like strong shadows, or stronger-ish shadows. This is too dark. But something along there. It feels more dramatic to me. And I like drama. Okay. Let's do our next layer. We're actually going to move to screen. The blending mode is screen, and we're going to go get our pale yellow, creamy yellow, and this time we're going to do the highlights. So basically the highlights are generally opposite of our shadows. And I just realized I forgot one shadow part. Ta-da! His body is going to shadow out his wings. Obscure some of the wings, I guess, from light. Okay. Alright, now back to my butterscotch and go to my screen layer, and this is for our highlights. So I'm going to come up here. Like I said, highlights are basically the opposite of the shadows. I'm going to touch up the top of these. I'm not being super picky with how I do it because I like kind of that more painterly look. I feel like it gives it some character and life. Alright. And if we look at eyes, especially like if we're trying to make the eyes of our character pop, putting a white line underneath the eyes kind of makes them really stand out. So I will often do that for mine, just to make them pop. I realized another spot I messed with my shadows. Stay with me and I will show you the longest way to do anything. Okay, noses have shadows. Okay, back to my highlights. So this is like how I finish things, is I go a lot of back and forth adjusting. Now he's gonna have some glistening stuff on his teeth on his tongue, because this little guy has a wet mouth. Things you wanted to know about Dragonite, or things you didn't want to know. Okay, let's do some highlights on the wings. And I'm gonna imagine these membranes are somewhat see-through, like lighter, kind of like, I don't know. So I'm gonna draw in some light peeking through. It's just, you add highlights until your heart is satisfied. Okay, there are some rules to highlights, but just add them and see what they feel like.
Oh, these eyes are cute.
Okay, let's put some little highlights on your little arms. I do not like how these ones turned out. Let's do those again. The brush I'm using is a little particular sometimes. We're going to have a little bit of highlight on his knees where the sun's hitting. On the tops of his, oops, too strong. Make my brush a little bit smaller. On the tops of his arms. If my claws were a different color than white, I would also put highlights on them and make them really pop. However, since they are white, the highlight won't come any brighter. So you can't have brighter than 100% white, which is white. Okay, let's do the outside of your foot. Should we have little glow spots on your feet? Yes, definitely. All right, what else do we need? Oh, does his belly need some little reflection light? Make his cheeks pop just a little bit more. All right, so we're mostly done, which is awesome because this is taking a long time. I don't mind, but I'm sure you don't want to like sit there watching things forever. Okay, we got a little bit of a shadow overlap where his wing joins his body. Okay, last thing, let's add a little bit of personality. I'm going to add a layer just above the colors, and I'm going to go get this pink for his mouth. And I'm going to switch to a big soft brush, one that should work really well. That is part of the pack is this round brush, or if you can find the soft round brush. Mine is all out of order, so I can't show you what it is, but oh, here, this soft round brush right here. This will give you a very nice soft texture for what we're going to do next, which is his cheeks. Basically, you add pink until your heart is satisfied. That's gonna be my new thing, okay? Pink until your heart is satisfied. Oh, isn't he so cute? And I really like the blend of that. I think that's good. If you wanted to soften that even further, you can go up here to your little magic wand and go down to Gaussian blur, and you can kind of blur it even more. Ooh, I really like that. Just when you're done, make sure you turn your background layer off and see where it spilled over. I'm gonna just erase some of that, because when you blur things, they don't stay in the lines. Yeah, one way that you can test how messy your work is you turn the background layer off, especially when you're using like lighter colors. It's like, oh, okay, but that's okay. Let's turn the background color back on. Perfect. Okay, we don't need our sun anymore, and we don't need those colors. All right, so there you have it, our little Dragonite, all well and done. I hope you enjoyed painting along today, and yeah, hope to see you again soon, and we'll do this again. Okay, bye.